So I've done over 12 million in revenue in the last 4 years, and I have been seeing a lot of shit, good and bad things. Because of this, there are some key points which I wish I knew before I started with ecom. So in this video, I'm gonna be going over the 10 key pillars that I wish that I knew before I started ecom. So these are all like points which are very important in my opinion. I'm gonna be going over all of them. So I'm gonna be starting at first, which are gonna be all of the key points. So take a very close listen, because for me, I've lost dozens of money in the whole process of learning all of this. These are some key points in which you have in your mind that are going to help you a lot while you're scaling your e-commerce business. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or you have done 7 figures in revenue, this video and the key points I'm talking here about are gonna help you a lot. So let me start with the first one, which is focus. And I know this may sound very cliche, but this is like one of the key points. So I'm gonna at first tell you guys a little bit how my daily routine looks like. And what I would recommend you is to watch the YouTube video here down below, in which you can see the video of how the life goes of an 8-figure entrepreneur in Dubai. And this is literally how I live right now. So to make it very simple on how I live at the moment is just I wake up, I have a few espressos, and while I'm working for a few hours, deep work immediately, I check my phone obviously because I have so many messages coming into me all day. And after that, very simple, what I do is I go to the gym. After the gym, I order some food. While I'm eating some food, I check like a podcast. While I check a podcast as well, maybe afterwards I read a book, and then I just work all day. That's it. And what is very important in my opinion to know is that this is the Champions League. So what do I mean by this? Every day when I wake up, I feel like it's like the Champions League. And for this reason, I always put in my mind that the day I slack is that the day that one of the other competitors or the sharks are gonna like try to take over all the hard work and the whole empire that I'm trying to build right now. So it is very important that you stay focused. Something very important as well is that I try to eat as less as sugar as possible, because what did Navarro Rafikant say about sugar? And so you know it, Navarro Rafikant is like an angel investor and like one of the first guys to invest a lot of money in Uber, Twitter, whatever, name it. So I'm gonna be giving out a very nice quote that he said about sugar. Meditation is intermittent fasting for the mind. Too much sugar leads to a heavy body, and too many distractions lead to a heavy mind. Time spent undistracted and alone in self-examination, journaling, meditation resolves the unresolved and takes us from mentally fat to fit. And those are very important. Now as well, we're gonna go to the second part, which is stop scrolling on your phone. Because to be honest, it's like stop scrolling on your phone. I only look at maybe 2 or 3 IG stories a day, and that's maybe of like one of like the most influential people that like people who influence me, for example Patrick Ray David. But I don't watch the stories of like my competitors or the friends. I barely do it. So because it's always a waste of time. And the thing is, if you're gonna look at stories, you get more desires. More desires is giving like a more unhappy life in my opinion. So I prefer to have like as less desires as possible, to have like less FOMO and like a more relaxed and chill life. Very important. If you're gonna imagine the amount of time you keep on scrolling and getting all those thoughts all the time, it's like fucking crazy, I'm telling you. Now what I want to say as well, that anything that is not aligned with your business is something you should not focus on. One of the things, for example, what I do is I don't check anything about politics. Why would I? What is the point? Why would I go out and read all the time shit about like politics? It doesn't make any sense for me, to be honest. So I don't do that at all. And now we're gonna go to the third topic, which is build a strong team with A players only. You cannot run all of these numbers in e-commerce alone. It is literally impossible. And why is it impossible? You need to build a team of killers and trust them. Of course, you can only do this if you are sure in like in the vehicle in which you're running your business in like the strategy that you can pull it off in. And of course, team can be very interesting. So what I mean by this is like you first have to find your business which is working. For example, dropshipping. And after that, you have to find a strategy in the business that's working. And if that's working and you know how to outsource and get some people on it, then you need to find like A players and put them in the right place. So this is only way you can do this. So I would never recommend to directly at like the batch hire like many people. Only do it to some specific places in which you know that if you do it, it's gonna make you more money 100%. If you're not sure about some stuff, I would definitely not recommend it. The times I was not sure if like this specific strategy or something was gonna pull off, and I would put immediately a lot of like team members on it, all the time it would be like really fucked up. So I would definitely recommend to only do this at the moment when you know the strategy is working. Then get A players. you know? And now as well, we're gonna go to the fourth one, which is do not rely on one-hit wonders. So what we do, we rely on B winners. And what do I mean by this? With ecom and with many businesses, you can, like, for example, in this case with dropshipping or ecom, you can hit like one product, you can run it for a while, but at some point you're gonna see it's like it can die out. Even if you test out like new creatives, it can go like fucked up. So what we prefer to do is we would prefer more like to look for B winners. And in this case, for example, what I mean by B winners is like those kind of winners that you can spend like 400 or 500 euros a day on and not higher, and just sell them for like a few weeks or even like a few months. You don't need to hit like those home run products all the time, in my opinion. I mean, if you can get those, it's amazing, but you don't need them to specifically to get it all the time, you know? So we prefer to focus on B winners, stack like 4 or 5 like B winners per ad account and scale them in every store like that. And now the fifth topic, what I want to talk about is something really different, is give, take, right? You're gonna take and then you're gonna give. And I already had this mindset already in mind, but this is like a quote that I've learned from Alex Ramosi. And why is this very important? Do not take anything personal in this business. It's like the first thing, if you're gonna give somebody, don't even expect something to get it back. Because if you do give somebody something and you do expect something back all the time, then already I can tell you're gonna have like a very bad time with making friends and making money and building up relationships. So the more you give to people, the more is what you're gonna take. If it's not from that specific person which you gave a lot, God and the universe is always gonna give you at some other way as well. It's gonna give it like back to you. So don't worry about this. And now we go as well now to the sixth topic, which is scale from the back end to the front end. What most people are doing really wrong is when they see a product, they scale it like a maniac. They test a product and the first thing they see is like an 8 ROAS and they're like, oh, scale, money printer. And then like what happens? They're using Klarna and PayPal. They don't even look what their dispute rate is. They don't even go in the back end and see if the product quality is really that good, and they get totally fucked by chargebacks, big supplier invoices they didn't as well accept it, and then they go fucked up. And like, don't get me wrong, I made the same mistakes back in the days as well, and this is why I'm here to show you the way that is good and that like you should do it. And in my opinion, this is something very important. So always when you do find a winning product, you're gonna scale it, it's very important that you start by looking at the back end and see how the product is, the quality, the delivery times, and name it. So look in the back end first at the supply chain and then start scaling once you see a good product. And this is the way how you can scale consistently. Not only it's gonna help like in terms of like revenue, but as well like for your payment processors if you're still a beginner and like you don't want to get everything banned, right? And try to find solutions all the time. So if you want to keep this like in a very consistent way, what's very important is to look first at the back end and then go like to the front end and scale. Very important. Now we're gonna go to the seventh topic, which is omni-channel marketing. Omni-channel marketing has helped us a lot. What is omni-channel marketing? It's like when you are going to advertise on different advertising channels. So let's say, for example, you're advertising on Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, Google, Taboola, like name it, all of them. That is omni-channel marketing. Why is this so important? Let me give you a very nice example. Every single time when we find the winner on Facebook, because we only test right now products on Facebook, we take the product and we test it as well on TikTok and Pinterest as well. And we do this and we get as well some extra revenue with this. I'd say like 10 or 20% a month extra revenue, just because we decide to test our winners from Facebook as well on different platforms. For Google, that's amazing. If you're gonna do, for example, like branded research, that's awesome. If you do that, you get as well like some extra like 5 to 10% in sales. So I would definitely recommend it. And now we're gonna go as well like to the eighth topic, which is relationships. Relationships is like the key. This is like the most important one, maybe even out of everything. And let me give you a very nice story and analogy why I think this is so important. So let me explain. It was 2022 and I had just gotten from a lot of brands, a bad year as well in terms of revenue and profit. And I couldn't arrange a proper payment processor. And you know it, if you don't have a proper payment processor, you're gonna run into a lot of troubles and not even like advertise like properly. So then at some point I met a friend, his name is Luca Ecom. If you're doing dropshipping, especially in EU markets, 100% you know him. It's a guy, he did like over 9 figures in revenue. And so I got like in touch with him in kind of like a crazy way. Maybe I'll tell the story later. And yeah, we just like kept on like helping each other. And even like, for example, you can see it like these high level guys, they know how life and business works. They know even if they're gonna help you a lot and even if they don't receive anything back, which I'm gonna go now as well, it's like connect the dot. If you go to like the fifth kind of like key pillar, give, take. They have the same philosophy. And this is like how most like big people as well operate. They are not afraid to share anything, because they know there's gonna come a time as well that they're gonna need something as well from you, and they know like they will get help. At least that's how you build relationships in the beginning in terms of business. So you cannot expect anybody to give you anything before you didn't even help them. If it do happens, very nice, you know, like you have to be like a little bit lucky, I must say, about it, but this is at least how we roll. So we got in touch, we had some calls, we talked, and I told him like I have some processing issues, and of course, thank God, he also like helped me out with it. And this was literally a game changer of making at some point maybe even like 500 euros a day, like in revenue or profit, whatever, to going back to 20 and 30k days. So important. And as well, of course, I learned a lot from him on this whole process on how to deal with this kind of stuff, and why relationships are very important, to really invest in it and not be afraid to invest in it, because that is like so important. So what happened is essentially we got to meet each other, because I just helped him out with some stuff. I didn't even expect anything back. I just liked him, to be honest. Then as well, like I got some very good help from him, and this was like a game breaker. And this is just like one of the cases in like the relationships that I built in the last couple of years, and why I think like I always have like the best solutions. I always have like the best ways to find the strategies. Why? Because I give out everything to my friends and to my relationships, and they give it as well like back to me. If you do see that you give a lot to a person, you try to help him, but you see no support back from this person, I would definitely like slowly cut it off. I would never recommend to just like make a fight or make it personal. But yeah, like of course, if you're gonna help somebody all the time and this person just doesn't give a shit, at some point you can as well like think like, hey, why would I still like help this guy? This guy just doesn't like value me, you know, because you just want to be like respected at some point, right? So it's so important. So yeah, relationships is very important. And now we come as well like to the 9th pillar, which is do not be emotional. And why am I saying this? Being emotional in this business is one of the worst mistakes you can make in every business, in general as well, even in life, but especially in business. Good days or bad days, focus on the mission. You can change the strategy, but never change the goal. So what I mean by this is that like whatever happens, the moment you get emotional on everything that is like happening, with the downfalls, with the upsides, downsides, name it. If you get too emotional, it's gonna be a dead end for you. So you always have to look everything like rationally. If you're gonna take calculated risks, not every risk is gonna pay off. Some will pay off and some don't. That's just like how the game works. Sometimes, you know, people will fuck you over. Sometimes you will have some new friends. Sometimes randomly, like you will have an issue in your store. Your products are not like profitable anymore. Your structure is down, whatever happened. It's all part of life. You just have to figure out a way in yourself to not take anything personal and just go with the flow and focus only on the mission. That's like the most important thing. And the last kind of like secret or like the pillar key point are actually the 4 pillars: health, wealth, love, happiness. And I want to add as well the 5th one, status. Shout out to Ty Lopez. And the reason why I'm saying about this is that like you don't want to make all of the money in the world and be like fat as fuck. You know, I used to be like quite way more fat as well, like even like a year ago. But I realized if I would make more money and I would look like this, I would still be more happy, to be honest. I'd rather make less money and be more healthy, because at some point when you make some money in your life, it's not going to change your life a lot, right? So what? You're gonna buy like a G-Wagon or a Lambo, and then like you're gonna buy the Mansouri Urus. When you're gonna even like drive the car, the first few days you're gonna be like, oh shit, that's crazy. But then it gets normal. Everything gets normal. Luxury life has no end. So I'm very kind of like stoic on this, you can say. So yeah, this is very important, because you need to have those 4, or I'd say like 5 things all in balance: health, wealth, love, happiness, and status. Status is also very important. I'll talk about some later moment as well. And in my opinion, if like one of those 5 is not in the same way, let's say like you can rate all of them, and if you see that one of them has like a very low rating in your opinion, I'd say, then in my opinion, then you're doing something wrong. It's better to have all of them at like 7 out of 10 than to have like 2 of them at like a 10 out of 10, and then like all the other components like at a very low rating, you know? This is like very important. This balance is, in my opinion, is like one of the ways I think I can still like work a lot, because I don't even see this stuff as work. I just enjoy to do it. Of course, sometimes you're like, hey, I don't want to like work all day. I just want to chill, go outside. But in the end, it's It's like if you go to the gym, you don't want to go to the gym, but afterwards, after the gym, you're like, this was such a good session. I'm so much more happy, you know? And you get like, you accomplished something like very crazy. So guys, these are the 10 pillars that I wish I knew before I started e-commerce. Even if you don't do e-com, you do something else, most of these tips are gonna help you as well a lot out, because in the last 4 years, I've seen the most craziest shit. And believe me, I say like all of this out of experience. Anyway, so guys, subscribe, like, do your thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Share with friends. I think it's gonna help a lot, especially for beginners. So yeah, ecom out.